I could talk forever about freedom. It's one of those things which, like air, we take for granted every day until something threatens to take it away from us. It is precious, and yet something we rarely even think about. There are those who have sacrificed their freedoms to ensure others can maintain their own, and there are those who have taken liberties with the freedom of others. This has cost many an offender to lose their freedom, winding up behind bars, some for a stretch, some for a lifetime. As I stare out beyond the handlebars of my motorcycle, I see the massive, well-protected prison buildings which keep such offenders held back, kept away from the rest of society, and I can't help but to wonder about the many varying stories each one of those inmates keeps. How many people are sitting in those cells, yearning for the day when they can trade in those thick vertical steel bars for a set of handlebars, feeling the wind against their faces, the breeze on their knees, and the purr of an engine beneath them as they cruise along the open roads of the American frontier. In today's episode, we'll be exploring this concept through both words and music, and we'll also take a look at what it's like to enforce those laws which protect our liberties. We'll be meeting with an amazing author who has worked in the kind of direct contact with prison life that can help one to provide an understanding voice for the incarcerated. We'll also meet a retired officer from one of New York's toughest crime cities. Lastly, we'll meet with a man who offers to bring a different feel to a familiar tune relating to a life behind bars. So fire up your engines and settle in as we explore all of this and more on The Next Story.
Hello, I'm Justin DeMilan, your host of The Next Story. I am here today with Gretchen Primack. How are you doing today, Gretchen?
I'm really good. How are you?
I am fantastic.
So
you
glad.
are a local Hudson Valley author.
I am indeed.
So we are here in Woodstock, New York, and I understand you have a project that you're working on recently.
I'm working on my fourth collection of poems.
Fourth collection of poems, are
Yes,
Wow.
indeed. And it's starting to come together, but I feel like it's still early stages. I'm not going to say too much about it.
Okay, all right. So no projected timeline at this point.
Not really.
Okay. So you've got 3 of them that are already out and published and available?
Right.
Now, where can people find those books?
Honestly, the best place is my website. That way I can sign it, and they're nice, fresh, good copies, and that's just GretchenPrimack.com.
Can you tell us a little bit about visiting days and the inspiration for it?
Well, I've been teaching in maximum security men's prisons around the Hudson Valley for almost 20 years. And after a bunch of years, I took a break, and I hadn't been writing about it because, it's my job. It's not like fodder for my creative life.
Yeah.
I teach, that's my work. I write poems, that's separate, But when I was taking a break from the work for about a year, I found that those things really wanted to combine, that I really wanted to start doing what I said about like making sense out of something and exploring something through poems. And it started to look more and more like it was going to be a collection. It's a collection of what's called persona poems. That's poems in the voice of someone else.
Okay.
And it imagines like an imaginary prison filled with imaginary incarcerated individuals. And each poem is in the voice of one of them, or in the voice of somebody who's visiting one of them. And what this enables me to do is, I'm not speaking for anybody. So these people are imaginary characters, and some of the stories have gotten in there. Some of them are completely 100% imaginary, but they all are kind of born out of the experiences that I've had, the research I've done, the reading I've done, the conversations I've had, and having some of these people serve as the first readers of the poems and of the collection so that I can make sure I'm getting it right.
Okay, so it's almost, it sounds like it's almost like a poetry that is almost fiction based upon nonfiction. Is that?
That is a brilliant way to put it.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah. Another thing is it's sort of like dramatic monologues. Like if you could imagine characters on a stage, like each of them speaking for a short time, it's like that. Like they're sort of characters in my head, fiction or plays or something that have now are speaking through these poems.
Wow. Would you be willing to give us an example from the book?
Yes, I could do that. Sure. I'm just trying to think what to read. Kind of fascinated by prison labor. I think I used to be a labor organizer back in the
wow.
day. And so work interests me. And it's a very sticky subject, isn't it? Because they're paid almost nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 cents an hour, 20 cents an hour.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. And the goods that they make end up in prisons and also in other state facilities, because you can't sell what's made prison labor, but you can use it as part of the state, right? So they are kind of wards of the state creating things that the state then uses. So that's why people talk about license plates.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Furniture that goes into state office buildings might be prison made.
Gotcha.
That
But
kind
this
of
is
thing.
why they're not making stuffed animals for people to buy for their kids for Christmas
Correct.
and things of that.
Yeah, exactly. It can't go out on the open market, you know.
Okay.
So here's a guy named Ernest, and he's in the vocational building in this imaginary prison. And there's a little quote from the website of the New York State Department of Corrections talking about the mattress shop, right? So these guys are making mattresses. And it says, the materials produced by the mattress shop are standard items used in state and local facilities and universities throughout the state. Got me thinking about these ending up in dorm rooms, yeah?
Yeah.
Prison labor in dorm rooms, yeah. So here's what Ernest has to say.
Okay.
Education is part of this. For instance, I had to get my GED. And for instance, my work will lie under a student at Buffalo State. On my clothed buttons lie students about to get laid. Students dreaming of books and getting laid. Dreaming of stories and science. Never of their mattress. Never of its tufting machine operator or tape edge operator. Never of its felon. Its spring mattress assembler. Its 20 to life adhesive operator. Cutting machine operator. Conditional release 2023 mattress sewing machine operator. Its GED 2012 stuffing machine operator. It's man.
That is, you know, and I know poetry's supposed to be thought-provoking, but that nails it. That nails thought-provoking. That's fantastic.
Well, thank you. And I don't think it's art's job to kind of answer the questions, but to ask the questions, you know?
I love that.
So, you know, who is this guy? What does he think about what he does, right? These
Yeah.
are prized jobs sometimes because 20 cents is better than nothing.
How did you get involved in this?
You know, I was teaching at a community college and I heard there that another college program in prison wanted some writing tutors. And I thought, you know, that's for me. I like the idea of education in spaces where it's not common because I really believe in education and I think it should be everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's access to a world that I don't know anything about, but that's a big part of society. So it was a way for me to just begin to understand something about our society that's very much physically and literally behind walls.
Sure.
And very quickly, it was clear to me that this was something I wanted to do, and it was clear to the program that it was something that I should be doing in a more real way than just a writing tutor. So I started to teach with that program. I started to administrate with that program, and I did that for about 6 years, and now I'm with a different program.
Now, how do people get involved in coming to your class? So, is it like advertised, throughout the facility and kind of on a voluntary basis? People can come that want to, or how does that work?
Well, if it's part of the college program, these are all college students. They are getting a college degree.
Okay.
So I think of it as a satellite campus.
Okay. All right.
Right? In the street, you get a big course catalog. They have much less choice. We don't have a campus. There's limited facilities. There's limited professors who are going to go down there and such. So they'll look at the list and they might need my class for a requirement, or they might choose my class. I teach poetry, literature, and I also teach a creative writing class for the college. Their advisor might say, you should take this, balance things out, or whatever. So that's how they would get there. In terms of this new program where I'm just doing creative writing workshops, that they literally put something up on the wall that says, hey, take this poetry workshop. And
then that's not part of a whole, not part of a whole course. That's an individual standalone class.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, all right. I'll do that on Tuesday night. Sure.
Thank you for talking with me here. I definitely appreciate this. And one more time, your website is
GretchenPrimack.com. And I would love for folks to just come and learn a little bit more about me and the book and the other books and all that.
And I know we always love to push the websites as well. Are your books available in stores as well?
Yeah, Kind is available, can be ordered wherever books are sold.
Okay.
Visiting Days is hard to get unless it's on my site. So
all right.
That one, yeah, I would recommend there.
Okay,
for sure.
Good. All right, that's good for everyone to know. Because I know I tend to, you're doing so much stuff on the internet, and sometimes you just want to go the old school route. Sometimes I want to get into a bookstore. This was a great excuse for me to be in a bookstore, just to get in and just feel the book and smell the paper and everything.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm all about it. I totally get it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Gaining some new insights on the world of literary education within the penal system, I can't help but to marvel at the beauty of someone being able to grow from their experiences rather than be broken by them. Gretchen has a job where she gets to help people make something of themselves while serving time, helping people come back to society as a benefit to the mind rather than a danger to the body. Taking a step backwards, I have to wonder about the kind of person who sees people on their bad days, when mistakes are made that can change the course of a life. Course which sometimes leaves people entering that penal system. I decide to see my friend Tommy Gleason, a retired motorcycle cop from one of New York's toughest cities. Tommy has stories for days and a knack for telling them. Making my way to the Motorcyclopedia Museum in Newburgh, New York, I crank the throttle and tune in my listening ears, excited to hear the next story.
Hello and welcome to The Next Story. We're here at the Motorcyclopedia Motorcycle Museum in the city of Newburgh, New York, also known as Motorcycle City in the Hudson Valley. I'm here today with my friend Tommy Gleason. Tommy is a retired City of Newburgh Police motor officer and instructor. How you doing today, Tommy?
I'm well, Justin. Nice to see you again.
Fantastic, glad to see you. So why don't you tell me how you got your start as a motor officer?
Well, the whole journey began in 1998 after a civil service test, and it started with a few interviews first. I walked out of that police station after talking to a couple of chiefs of police, and as I walked past the open security bay, I saw two Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and this was one of them sitting right behind us, 115. And
this is one of the actual motorcycles that you rode?
Yes, I rode and actually instructed officers on this motorcycle here.
That is so cool.
For a long time. It was one of the motorcycles I saw when I walked past that security bay, and I wasn't sure if I wanted the job as a police officer. I heard a lot of stories about the city of Newburgh. It was a rough town. I wanted to be a fireman. They ran in my family. I saw these Harley Davidsons, and just I'm a motorcycle guy like you, and as we all know, if you like motorcycles, the motorcycle bug bit you for life, and it bit me a long time ago.
And there's not a whole lot of jobs that you can get where you can get paid to ride motorcycles, and policing is one of those few jobs, right?
And if you don't think that crossed my mind, I think it was the only thing that crossed my mind. My wife was pregnant at the time. I had 2 children already, and I didn't think of, oh my God, a fireman, it's a great job. They're very dangerous jobs, both of them. But a police officer, people, a different take. It's a different, everyone loves the fireman. A cop, I saw
not
those
everyone
Harleys,
loves a cop.
everything was changed.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was going to be a motorcycle cop. God willing, it happened for me.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. It was quite the journey. I was very fortunate to have a hand in instructing a lot of those officers. And that doesn't come easy. I was a brand new cop, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get down to the Yonkers. It was their basic police motorcycle officers course. It was a 2-week course down in Yonkers at their special ops division.
There's nothing basic about it from what I've heard. That is listed as one of the tougher schools for motorcycle training, is it not?
Yeah. I don't think anyone goes to the school if they word it like that. So they worded it differently, and we went down there, and I went down there. I went down alone, Justin, so it was a little unnerving. But I was given advice. I've got a great tryout story if you want to hear it.
Absolutely.
So the chief of police, Bill Bloom at the time, he brings me up to his office, and he's a big man. I'm not exactly a big man. And he looks at one of the guys who was a senior rider. He's the chief of police now, Bruce Campbell. He's the chief of police in the town of Newburgh. He was also on the motorcycle unit. He was an officer with me at the time. He was a senior officer. He brings Bruce up to his office with myself, and he says, I hear Gleason can ride a motorcycle here, Bruce. He talked like this. I hear Gleason can ride a motorcycle here. Take him out on the highway. Take him out on that motorcycle. It's a big motorcycle. He's a little guy. I don't know if he can handle that. I might as well not have been in the room. So, so I just sat there. I didn't say a word. Next thing you know, I'm on a Harley with Bruce and police motorcycle. I had the biggest grin I probably had in my life. Now it's a year into my police career. I'm on that motorcycle that drove me to make this decision. And I can't believe it. And he's got me doing these tight circles on this thing. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to ride like this. I can't full lock this. I'm going to fall. It's going to kill me. And I handled it and didn't crash. And I thought that he thought that was enough. So then we hit a highway. And so we hit the highway, and of course we were doing a speed limit because that's what we do as police officers. As we were doing, he had full riding gear, leather 3/4 coat, which we might see here in the museum if we look around. I had a patrol coat on. It was cold. It was probably about 45 degrees. So a winter patrol coat. Not conducive to riding at motorcycle speeds, especially cop motorcycle speeds, which are always the speed limit. So as we're going down Route 84, heading over the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, or about to, I thought we were going to go over the bridge, my coat worked its way up over my body, and if you could picture this, Justin, the coat went over my head and then worked its way down, and my handlebars were attached to my hands, and I saw the coat come down, and it rested firmly, fully on my arms, just like that. And I was looking at the back of my coat. I could see this patches on the shoulders. I couldn't see the road, and I thought this isn't good because we're doing 55 cop speed on this highway. And I hit the whoop whoop, and he looked over at me. And then by the time I looked up and peeked, he was hysterical laughing, signaling to the exit. So I pulled over. We got off the exit, and my heart was. He doesn't say a word. We drive back to the station. The chief happens to be downstairs where the officers are, and he walks through. How'd he do? He goes, rode down the highway, blind. Put him on a unit. Cop speed.
Oh, that is fantastic. Now, I'm assuming that's not the last wild story that you had on that bike.
Well, that was the start of them,
yeah.
And then it just got wilder and wilder. So I went down to Yonkers. And that's where I learned that, man, I did not know how to ride. I sucked. So although those guys in Yonkers, there's a Sergeant Trabaco, Lieutenant Transinger, these guys, Lieutenant Transinger showed up. I was struggling. I dropped my motorcycle probably 20, 30 times in the first 2 hours.
Now,
that's not an exaggeration.
Is that because of where you were at, or is that standard for anybody learning as a police officer?
Yes,
those skills, because
yes.
we all know police officer riding has a skill set far beyond what the average rider does.
What those instructors asked of me, Justin, I said, wow, this is going to be hard, and this is going to take a lot. I thought I was going down there for a great school, and it was a great school, but I thought I was going down there for fun and riding motorcycles. It was one of the hardest things I did at that point in my career. And the worst thing you want to do is go to a school and not be successful. And fortunately, I did get through that school. It was hard, and everything you did. I can tell you one story about when we headed out for coffee, and a call came over the radio. We're police officers. We're armed, and we're on police motorcycles. We're in Yonkers, and a hot call comes in, we're riding and doing training, but we're going to the hot call.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
And even though that wasn't your jurisdiction,
Well,
but you were with somebody who
it was the Yonkers
Okay,
cops'
all right.
jurisdiction, right? So if they have to go out there and shut down something, they'll do it, and they do it so safe. And so, and you're hearing the radio, shut it down, and all of a sudden you watch how it happens. And you're a student, but you watch the professionals because you're just learning this job. And they successfully use their leapfrogging, which I can talk about in much more detail, to get in front of vehicles, go safely out into the highway, shut down a full highway, but not cause an accident with little motorcycles compared to these cars and trucks and everything else.
Yeah.
And when you see it happening, it is like poetry in motion. And you cruise out onto the highway, and it's like the seas are parting, and you just fall in love with the whole thing, and you have to learn how to do it.
That is so cool.
Does that describe it?
Hey, it sounds like it. I'm getting amped up just listening. Tell me about this leapfrogging.
The leapfrogging is also called outriding. So if you've ever seen any procession move, because it's a mobile unit in a congested area, they're the greatest tools for police agencies in city jurisdictions, because a city has a block, usually grid. And now a problem happens in the center of a block, cars pull in, police cars pull in, an ambulance pulls in, and now you have a traffic jam. The motorcycle can go up the sidewalk, in between the cars. They're much more mobile, and they can get to help people quicker.
Nice.
So it allows the motor cop much more flexibility and avenues to get to the people that need them. It's dangerous. It involves riding head-on into oncoming traffic to get to your destination. The right front motorcycle is called the road boss. He sends everyone out from the left lane to take intersections, and they slowly roll into the intersection, shut it down so the procession can pass through. They will file back into the end of that procession of police officers on the left lane again. And that lane will filter up every time a motorcycle goes out to take an intersection. The procession slides through. Once it's fully through, he goes back to the end again. So that's the leapfrogging name. You leapfrog ahead of everything, shut down the red lights, go through the red lights, the procession goes through, you leapfrog back to the end of the line until you're needed at the front of the line again.
Wow, that's got to take some skill and some cojones.
Both.
Yeah.
Yes. And attention to detail.
Sure, yeah.
Because one mistake, when you don't look and do a head check, is where things go bad. So a lot of moving parts to motorcycles operating around that way. And we've had bad accidents and things have gone wrong. You know, we're human, we make mistakes.
Okay. So it sounds like you've got a lot of stories that really run the gamut from humorous to not so humorous and getting fairly serious. If you had a favorite story out of any of that?
I have there's not enough time, but I can give, I love the fact that you brought up humorous. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't laugh at anyone.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go humor. So picture me I was on 128. So this steed here is 115. I was on 128 same year, and I pulled up to, it was a shots fired call. And so we're trying to get there in a hurry, of course, man down. I was going to go through an intersection on my motorcycle with lights and sirens on. There was a van, I was gonna not win that fight. So I hit the brakes. When I hit the brakes real quick, the van, he knew I was coming through, but he just knew it was better than him. He went past me. I hit the brakes quickly. It was spring. Warm spring day, city of Newburgh. We touched on the city, tough town.
Okay.
There were some people on each corner. I would say about 30. So we're probably talking maybe I'm going to say there's 100 people on the block that day. It was the first warm spring day.
Uh-oh.
You know, potholes, short guy, motorcycle. I put my foot down, and there was a 2-foot pothole there. I look like the laughing guy on the tricycle when it tips over. So I wasn't going to get hit by the van. I wasn't going to hit ground either for another 6-7 inches. By that time, there was 1,200 pounds on its way to the ground. My little leg wasn't stopping it.
Yeah.
So as it tossed me off the motorcycle, I rolled into the intersection, so I didn't get hurt, and I jumped to my feet, and now I'm going to shots fired, and they're all laughing at me, which I'm good with. I can handle that. So there's a trick to picking up your motorcycle if the kickstand is exposed. You put it out, and then you stand your kickstand onto the motorcycle. Don't forget to put the kickstand out. I forgot to put the kickstand out. So I jump around the other side of the motorcycle, and you put your back to it, you put your butt in the seat, and you do a squat, and you pick up the motorcycle. And you put the kickstand out first, or you forget. Well, I picked it up, and I dropped it on the other side.
Oh, good,
So
good.
now I picked it up and dropped it on the other side, and now the group of maybe, we'll call it 100 people, are hysterical laughing at me. I'm good with that, too, all right? But I got to come up with something quick, because it's not going to start now. So I picked it up for the second time, and I turned it around because I came up a grade, and as I pushed the heavy motorcycle, I hopped on it real quick, started down the hill, and I looked at the crowd on my right, and I said, I gotta stop drinking before work. And I started the motorcycle, and it kicked right over, and I took off. I got to the call. The man survived. Everything worked out. It was good, and an arrest was eventually made. I remember the call. And this is the funny part. Just 2 years go by.
This is the funny part.
This is the funny part. 2 years go by, right? So I pulled the motorcycle into that same security bay that I told you about when we started talking.
Yeah.
And this is where we park our motorcycles. I pull it in there. Well, you walk from the security bay, you're in the building, in the police building now, and you walk into booking from the security bay.
Okay.
I open up the door to booking, and you walk through booking. There happened to be an operation going on that day. There was a lot of police in the city of Newburgh that day.
Okay.
And there was a lot of people that were going to spend a night in the bed and breakfast that we have set up there. So as I walk through the door, you know, the motorcycle, they hear the Harley pull in, so I come through, motorcycle uniform on. I walk through, and there's a guy on the end of the bench, and he's just looking at me. He's the opposite side of the room, so he's looking at me to always laugh. And he goes, "Motorcycle man!" I can picture him right now. I said, "My man." He goes, "I remember when you dropped that motorcycle 2 motherfucking times." And he was so happy. There was 20 people hooked to benches. They were all hysterical laughing. Oh, my God. It was the funniest moment in my career. And I don't drink. And it was funny anymore, I should say. So I don't drink. And so I walked
Drink
out.
any less either? But
No, there's none. So as I was walking out, I said, "Well, it's Friday. What are you all doing today? Because I'm going to go get a beer. You want to join?" "Oh, wait, you guys are busy." He goes, "That's wrong." I said, "Well, but that's funny, too." And we have a great relationship. So is the guy, I've seen him since, and we still laugh about it, believe it or not.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, funny stuff. And there's some serious things that happen along the way, too.
I'll bet. You got any of those you want to share?
I do. I will. I have a very serious moment on this motorcycle that I'm very proud of, actually. It was a horrible story for one young lady, and she was looking for weed, and she was unfortunately the victim of a horrible assault. She wound up at a fraternity house at the college area of the city. Within 20 minutes, I located the suspect in the vehicle with the exact description from the victim. Saw him, was not familiar with him, but she matched the description perfectly, and he probably weighed around 375 pounds. He was one of the biggest men I've ever seen, and he was out of his mind on drugs.
Oh, wow, okay.
Behind the wheel of a car, had been up for 4 straight days.
Oh.
So I called off that I had the suspect in the vehicle that she had described. There was no denying this was the guy. I could picture every bit of it, to the orange tank top. It was hot. It was 9 o'clock on a school day. School buses everywhere in a busy city. He saw me, and he tried to wave me through an intersection with a blinking red light. I gave him the cop look and said, "No, you're going to go in front of me." And he waved frantically for me. "Officer, go, go, go." I could hear him, or see him. "Officer, go, go." And I stood up off the motorcycle. And he knew I wanted him in front of him, and he did that. And he went right in front of me through the intersection. I pulled right in front. I was able to get the 3 digits off the plate. He stopped the car abruptly. I think he was about ready to go to reverse and try to take me and the motorcycle out, so he had a chance to get away. I started to go for my gun, and I told him, "Throw the keys out the window, turn it off, throw the keys out of the window." His whole head was out of the window. He was looking at me, and that was where either he was going to try and run me over, or he was going to take off, and he took off. The other way, thank God. He did not. If he wanted to run me over, he had the opportunity.
Okay.
I was very untactical when I pulled out behind him. Mistake. I was lucky. He took off through the city now, and now I'm chasing him. I had no reason not to believe this woman 100%, this young lady. And I was not going to let him go if I couldn't help it. So I was calling it off now. I stopped using the clutch. He was going from street to street to street, trying to lose me. And I was just going through the gears, and I had the radio in one hand, and I shifting with no clutch and calling off the streets. Eventually, we went up Grand Street, where he had to be doing about 120 miles an hour past stop school buses. I was not doing that speed. I had chased him through the inner city long enough, weaving, that the cavalry was close.
Okay.
Everyone knew what had happened that morning because we put it out immediately. I lost sight of him for about 20 seconds, and then I heard a good friend of mine who retired also now, went through the academy with him, Officer Weaver at the time, called off that he had picked him up right after I lost him, and that he had just crashed. And that's where we found him. And he wound up going to jail for the crimes that he committed. But it was probably one of the more dangerous moments in my career.
Oh, it sounds like it, yeah.
Because driving like that on a motorcycle in a city at 9 o'clock in the morning on a school day,
sure, yeah,
with the traffic is crazy enough. And it all worked out, thank God.
Yeah.
And hopefully the young lady is okay today. But
That is one hell of a story.
yeah, it's amazing the amount of emotions in that line of work, where you can be here and you can be here, and then you have to operate something like this at that sort of level
Sure, yeah.
with that going on in your head.
Yeah.
You know, people don't think about what cops do when they do it.
Man.
There's a lot goes on. You know?
Now, Tommy, you mentioned that you're an instructor. Are you still an instructor now?
My instructor status, I'd have to take a test to renew.
Okay.
Since I retired, I've let that lapse because it should be left to the younger guys. But to become the instructor, when I was at the top of my game, Justin, there's an article in this museum somewhere, and Ted and the people here, Ted's museum, he had a beautiful write-up about me becoming an instructor.
Nice.
And it's very flattering. And it was probably the hardest thing I did in my career. The motorcycle instructor course was the hardest thing I did. It was run by the Maryland State Police. Well, there was 3 in the nation at the time. It was the Maryland State Police, the California Highway Patrol, NYPD. Those were the top 3. And they were the only ones recognized by the Motorcycle Safety Foundation. And there was only one difference between ours and California Highway Patrol and New York City's that differed. We actually learned to crash our motorcycles on purpose.
Interesting.
Yes. It's not for the faint of heart, but it saved my life. And I can
Is it
tell you
a way
that
to
story.
safely crash, I'm guessing?
It is. There's a procedure to laying a motorcycle down. First step in laying down a motorcycle, you cause a rear wheel skid. And that is the number 1 step. And once your rear wheel skid is coming, or is on board, and you're sliding down with your rear tire not moving, you do what we teach every motorcyclist not to do. You break every rule we taught you. You look down. You throw your body towards the ground. You turn your handlebars full lock as you do it. If I want to lay it down this way, my back tire is skidding, I do this.
Handlebars going in the direction.
Handlebars going in the way I want to go down, and I find the rear of my tailgate. I'm riding along like this, and I go, and I literally turn my body, and I look, and I try to find
Your
the
plate,
end
basically.
of my tailgate, or
Okay.
the end of my tailpipe.
Okay.
The end of my tailpipe. That motorcycle will slide out like this and just slide right out from underneath you.
So that's without you putting effort to purposely bring it in that direction, just with that rear wheel locked up? And
Once the rear wheel locked up, the minute you start that turn, all right, that's just going to cause it, and that rear wheel is already skidding. Now physics is going to want to take it down, and you absolutely have to have faith in
the
your
crash bars.
Yep, your engine guards and your saddlebag guards, also known as crash bars, but they're actually engine guards. They will save your life. Your feet will be right here, and you squeeze this tank, you're protected right through here, straight to there. Your feet never, your legs never get touched as long as you keep them hugging this tank.
Well, that is
And that's
fantastic.
what happens. You'll slide right on there, and you'll slide the motorcycle into your object that you're going to hit. After I retired, I totaled one of my Harleys on my way to work at the motorcycle shop, and I slid my Harley 68 feet plus into a 200-year-old oak, totaling my Harley Davidson and only scratching this finger right there.
Jeez.
Signed myself out of the ambulance as soon as I stood in it.
I know I have definitely been in situations where I've referred to it as I laid my bike down, but I guess it was my bike laying me down, really,
Yes.
is what was happening there.
Well, if you had a bike before anti-lock brakes and you caused your rear wheel to lock up, maybe you did lay it down by
Sure.
accident.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't do-
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't do it using the technique.
No, there was no technique. It was me hitting
Yeah.
a 90-degree turn that I thought was about a 45, and realizing too late, we ain't gonna.
Yeah, you're
that
not-
telephone pole and I are about to become real good friends if I don't figure something out here. And
And then the pucker factor and
yeah.
and
And you know what? And I didn't have crash bars on that bike. It was an '09 Street Bob, but it was a pair of tall leather cowboy boots that saved me.
Saved you. Oh, yeah.
Because my foot was actually trapped under the bike and was pulling me along, and I kicked the boot off and let the bike and the boot go, and then walked over it, picked
Yeah.
it up, and everything was fine other than my shift peg smashed through my primary cover.
Oh, yeah,
That
sure.
was it.
Yeah.
But a little bit of
Yeah, you
little bit
take
of
care of
JB
that.
Weld and
Sure. And
improper
you're right.
techniques, and I was all
Yeah.
set to go.
If you had that in your saddlebag, you didn't even be on the side of the road long.
Right.
It's amazing what you do and just patch it up and go down the road.
Yeah, I'll fix it later. Yeah, and then later turns into a year later. Now you got a bike full of stories to tell. You know.
Oh yeah, it's the best thing. It's the best kind.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm riding the motorcycle that I totaled against that tree on that.
No
COVID
kidding.
day. Yeah. Oh, by the way, that accident happened because it was 23 degrees out, and I had taken a job after retirement at a Harley shop. They said, "Hey, we want you to work at our motorcycle shop." I had been doing their Toys for Tots escort for years.
Oh, wow.
Which is a wonderful thing. Santa comes.
Sure.
Marines Toys for Tots. I'm sure you heard
Yeah.
about it. And it's a great thing. And I set it up for years. It was wonderful because the cops got to get together, do a motorcycle escort for something fun, and then we'd have a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and we wouldn't have to bury one of our own, because often when we get together as a group from different agencies, it's for a funeral of another officer.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
one-
that's something you don't really think about.
You don't, but it's one of the primary
Functions.
functions of the police motorcycle. I mean, 9/11, I was a cop in 9/11 hit, and that brought funerals to a whole different level.
Oh wow.
You know, I lost friends of mine from 9/11 cancer. You know, one of the guys, there's 7 of us out of 14. 7 of us, I know how to count. 7 of us out of 14 made it through that Maryland State Police motorcycle instructor class.
Wow.
It was a 50% attrition rate to this day. And out of the 7 that made it through, Buki, Connecticut State Trooper, Walt, is no longer with us, and one of my closest friends, one of my closest friends who I went through the course with, Billy McLean, who was a town of Newburgh, city of Newburgh police. He was town of Newburgh. He's also battling 9/11 cancer. Book did not survive. We buried him. It's a tough part of it. You know, 9/11 changed a lot for cops. That's for sure.
Man, you have got some stories, Tom.
It's been a good ride.
It sounds like it.
It's literally been a good ride.
Well, thank you for sitting with me and talking, and I'm glad we were able to get here to the Motorcyclopedia right in front of a bike that you actually
I
rode on the
train,
job.
guys, if this motorcycle could talk, oh my God, it'd tell stories. It's a pleasure.
Hey, absolutely. The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You got it. Thanks, Tom.
Between Gretchen and Tommy, I feel like I've learned quite a bit, but there's another place in my soul that still needs to be reached. Music tells a story in a different way than what words and experiences can do for us. Music reaches the soul and transcends generations. No one seems to know this better than Kevin O'Connell. Kevin's been playing guitar for longer than I've been alive, and his years of experience do more than just showcase his skill set. Those years of being in touch with music have honed his ability to transform notes and lyrics into a soundscape of emotional education. I blaze my way across the city streets of Newburgh to reach the Velocipede Museum, where Kevin waits to tell me his story.
Hey guys, I'm Justin DeMilan. I'm your host. I'm here with my friend today, Kevin O'Connell. How you doing today, Kevin?
Good, Justin.
It's great to see you.
You too, man.
We've been talking a lot about, in this episode, about the life behind bars, right? Okay, not only the metaphorical bars of a motorcycle, considering the handlebars, but we've been talking about, prison, all right? People having to spend time behind bars, people that have lost their freedom. There's been a lot of songs dealing with that, and that's where we come into play with you here. I understand you've got a song by Johnny Cash that you do a great rendition of that I've heard.
Oh my, thank you.
It's Folsom Prison Blues, right?
Folsom Prison Blues it is. Yeah.
What drew you to this particular song?
Interesting story. We were stuck in an airport in Reno in the middle of the night, and I had borrowed an old kind of beater guitar from a friend of mine, Carlos, and we couldn't get on the plane. It was very late. Babies were crying, and there was something wrong with the plane, and I took the guitar out, and I knew the song, but I never had any dealing with it. I didn't have an arrangement for it. I didn't have anything really. I just knew the song, took the guitar out, tuned it up, and started to play. And just like an inspiration from a song, this arrangement kind of just came in the night in Reno in this environment, and kind of started playing it. Played for a while, got on the plane, stopped in maybe Houston and Philly, and took the guitar out every time we stopped and worked on it. By the time I got home to the East Coast, I had the whole arrangement, and it is what it is, the way it is, and I certainly hope that Johnny's okay with me. I think he would be, because we all want our music to go on after we're gone and want somebody to play our songs.
Sure, right.
So this is a little different take on it, but it's hopefully gives you the feeling of what it's like to be in Folsom Prison.
Nice.
So that's where it came from.
So obviously Johnny Cash has had some inspiration on you as a musician, but you're saying that it's got a different sound to it. I know your sound isn't typical of Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
What other inspirations do you have that have helped to kind of shape your sound?
Oh, kind of a mixing pot. I like a total variety of different people. I tend to play acoustic now, but I did play some electric back then. Jimi Hendrix was an influence of mine. Leo Kottke, Gordon Lightfoot, John Prine, songwriters that used the guitar. They weren't primarily guitar players, but had a good style on the guitar. So people like that influenced me.
Nice. That's a great take on it. I like the way that you say that. Kevin, did you have any mentors or personal influences as you were coming into music?
I did. We had to all play different instruments as we started off. My family was musical, so we all started with piano.
Nice.
And then I went to sax, and then I started taking guitar lessons. And I don't even remember his name now. My first guitar teacher at Lane Music, his name was Wally, and he, you're just learning. You've got an old silver tone guitar, and the action is terrible, and it's hard to play, and you're just trying to make your fingers do stuff. But going through old Mel Bay books and things like that, I learned to weave a melody through a chord structure.
Wow.
So, and I think that stayed with me now. It's more elaborate, obviously, than it used to be, but I think that's where it all started, was back then, and then through the years, I studied classical for a while. I studied some jazz, and those guys leave their imprint on you.
Sure.
You take little things from what they've taught you, and it all somehow comes together, and you develop, hopefully, your own style. That's yours.
Nice. That's beautiful. Now, were you always a solo player? Did you play with bands and stuff at different points?
Yeah, I did start it off, and I think my first band was probably like 6th or 7th grade.
Oh yeah.
Play at dances and stuff, and then went on to play solos as I got older. Played in bars and duos, trios, small bands. Played gigs on Friday nights in bars and did all kinds of things and taught. I like to teach.
Oh, nice.
I learned from teaching. When you have to break down the things that you kind of take for granted, you have to break it down for another human being to try to understand it and duplicate. You have to be specific, and you have to kind of changes the way you look at what you're doing.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah, so teaching has always been kind of fun. I haven't been teaching a lot lately, but I do like having a student or two to pass things on to.
Yeah. Yeah, another way for musicians' immortality, right?
Right.
Just like you were talking about Johnny Cash
Yeah.
passing along that song, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What do you think draws you to music? I mean, I know you said you came from a music family, and that's I'm guessing that's going to be most of it. But I mean,
Yeah.
is there anything else in particular that keeps your heart there?
It's a good question. I think it's an expression. It's a place where you can try to achieve some kind of a feeling through the music, and if you do it well enough, you can actually convey that to the people that are listening, and you can. It's more than just playing notes and singing a certain song. It's like if you feel the emotion and you're letting it pass through you as music, then when it goes to other people, they'll feel that too. And that's for me. If you can get that kind of connection, if you can get in touch with yourself and the instrument, and get everything right, and be in the moment and share that's a special moment for me.
Well, I agree, because I feel like even when I hear music that's performed in other languages, I don't understand the language, but I feel what they're trying to get across.
Yeah.
It seems like music is almost a language of its own, right?
Yeah.
And it's international,
Yeah. You're right. There's guys playing instruments that I don't even know what they are. Coming from Indian different places, and you're right. There's a passion in that. Yeah, it's universal.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear your rendition here of Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues, and I'd love to be able to play along with you if you don't
love
mind.
that too, man. It's always a good day when you're playing bass and we're playing together.
Excellent, man. I love it.
Yeah. That train coming, it's rolling around a bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when, 'cause I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on, and the train just keeps on rolling. When I was just a baby, Mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't you ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. I hear that lonesome whistle. I hang my head and cry. Well, I bet there's rich folks eating in a fancy dining car. Well, they're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. And people just keep on rolling, and that's what tortures me.
railroad train was mine. And you bet I'd move it on just a little bit further down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, that's where I wanna stay. And I'd let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away.
Gaining perspective is a crucial step in understanding our brothers and sisters in this world. Today, I've looked at the literary end of the life behind bars, the law enforcement side of the spectrum, and the way music allows us to tap into and translate stories from one generation to the next. But this is just the beginning of a journey which has no set path, but which is designed for continuous experience, education through living, and absorbing the world with all of the tactile senses before processing that information into one cohesive story. This journey will continue in our next episode as I explore the Hudson Valley, meeting musicians and authors, riding with friends and strangers alike, and checking out the unique stops along the roads in the area. Come with me as the story continues on The Next Story.